The year was 2005. A film called The Exorcism of Emily Rose sent chills down spines worldwide. It told the story of a young woman possessed, her life consumed by a terrifying demonic force. The film was a hit, its blend of courtroom drama and supernatural horror captivating audiences. But what many didn't know was the truth lurking behind the fiction. The Exorcism of Emily Rose was based on a real-life exorcism, the horrifying ordeal of Anneliese Michel. The film drew heavily from the real case, mirroring its unsettling details, the demonic voices, the contortions, the aversion to religious artifacts. These were not mere figments of a screenwriter's imagination. They were echoes of Anneliese's terrifying reality. However, the film, for all its chilling scenes, could only capture a fraction of the true horror. The real story of Anneliese Michel is a descent into a nightmare far more disturbing than anything Hollywood could conjure. It's a story of faith and doubt, of medicine and spirituality, and ultimately, a story of unimaginable suffering. Anneliese Michel was born in 1952 in a small village in Germany. A devout Catholic family raised her. Life was simple, filled with the traditions of their faith. Anneliese was a bright and devout girl, described by those who knew her as kind and compassionate. However, this peaceful existence began to unravel when Anneliese turned 16. Seizures gripped her, racking her body with violent tremors. Doctors diagnosed her with epilepsy, a diagnosis that seemed to explain the terrifying episodes. But the medication brought little relief. As time passed, Anneliese's condition worsened. The seizures grew more frequent, more violent. A darkness began to creep into her life, whispering in the shadows of her once unshakable faith. It was the start of a horrifying ordeal that would consume her next 9 years. Anneliese's behavior grew increasingly erratic. She spoke of terrifying hallucinations, seeing demonic faces leering at her from the shadows. The once devout girl now recoiled from religious icons, writhing in agony at their touch. Her pleas for help became desperate cries of torment. She spoke of being possessed, of being trapped in a waking nightmare with demonic entities. Anneliese claimed to hear voices, each one a malevolent entity vying for control of her body and soul. The voices taunted her, threatened her, and claimed dominion over her very being. Her family, clinging to their faith, sought solace in the church. They believed Anneliese's affliction was spiritual, a demonic possession that medicine couldn't cure. Their pleas for an exorcism were initially met with resistance, but as Anneliese's condition deteriorated, the church finally relented, setting the stage for a series of events as controversial as they were terrifying. In 1975, two priests, Father Arnold Renz and Father Ernst Alt, were authorized by the Catholic Church to perform an exorcism on Anneliese Michel. The rituals were grueling, steeped in ancient rites and prayers. Anneliese's contortions intensified, her voice twisting into guttural growls as the priests battled what they believed to be the devil himself. The exorcisms continued for months, sometimes lasting for hours. Over 67 rites were performed over 10 grueling months. Anneliese's suffering was palpable, her screams echoing through the halls of her family's home. She spoke with the voices of demons, revealing their names and their sinister intentions. Throughout this ordeal, Anneliese's faith never wavered. She believed in her soul's salvation, enduring the agonizing rituals with a fortitude that both inspired and horrified those who witnessed it. Her emaciated body became a battleground, a testament to the clash between the spiritual and the physical, between belief and despair. Section 5. Science versus Spirituality, a Medical Perspective. While the priests and Anneliese's family believed wholeheartedly in the demonic possession, the medical community remained skeptical. Doctors who examined Anneliese pointed to epilepsy and mental illness as explanations for her disturbing behavior. They argued that her seizures, hallucinations, and aversion to religious artifacts could be explained by temporal lobe epilepsy, a neurological disorder known to cause such symptoms. Psychiatrists who observed Anneliese suggested she might be suffering from schizophrenia or another psychotic disorder. They pointed to her hallucinations, delusions, and disordered thinking as evidence. The medical professionals argued that with proper treatment, Anneliese's suffering could be alleviated. However, these medical opinions were largely dismissed by Anneliese's family and the priests involved in the exorcism. They believed her torment was purely spiritual, a battle for her soul that could only be won through faith and divine intervention. This clash between the medical and the spiritual, between science and faith, would become a central point of contention in the aftermath of Anneliese's tragic death. Section 6, Judgment Day, the trial and its verdict. Anneliese Michel died on July 1st, 1976, at the age of 23. Her death, attributed to malnutrition and dehydration, sparked a media frenzy and a controversial court case. The priests, Father Rentz and Father Alt, along with Anneliese's parents, were charged with negligent homicide. The prosecution argued that Anneliese's death was a direct result of the exorcisms, that the priests and her parents had failed to provide her with the medical attention she desperately needed. They presented medical evidence suggesting that with proper care, Anneliese's life could have been saved. The defense, however, maintained that Anneliese's death was not a result of negligence but rather a tragic consequence of her possession. They argued that the exorcisms were necessary to combat the demonic forces tormenting her. The trial became a battleground for the very nature of belief, pitting faith against reason, the spiritual against the scientific. In the end, the court found the priests and Anneliese's parents guilty of negligent homicide. They were sentenced to 6 months in prison, later reduced to 3 years of probation. The verdict sent shockwaves through the religious community and sparked a global debate about the nature of possession, the limits of faith, and the responsibility of those entrusted with the care of the vulnerable. Section 7. Ripples of Fear, the case's impact. Anneliese Michel's story sent ripples of fear and fascination throughout the world. It ignited a firestorm of debate about the nature of good and evil, the existence of demonic forces, and the role of the Church in addressing such matters. Her case became a tragic example of the potential consequences when faith trumps reason, when belief overshadows the need for medical intervention. The Catholic Church, while initially defending the exorcism, later distanced itself from the case, emphasizing the rarity of true possession and the importance of seeking medical treatment for mental and physical ailments. The Vatican issued stricter guidelines for performing exorcisms, requiring thorough psychological evaluations and medical consultations before such rituals could be considered. Anneliese's case also sparked a broader conversation about mental health, highlighting the need for greater understanding and compassion for those struggling with mental illness. It served as a tragic reminder that sometimes the demons we face are not supernatural entities, but rather the unseen tormentors of our own minds. Section 8. Beyond the Screen, Truth and Terror. The Exorcism of Emily Rose, while loosely based on Anneliese's ordeal, took creative liberties with the story, fictionalizing events and characters to heighten the dramatic effect. The film's depiction of the exorcism rituals, while chilling, pales compared to the brutal reality of what Anneliese endured. The movie portrays Emily Rose as a willing participant in the exorcism, her faith unwavering throughout the ordeal. In reality, while Anneliese did believe in her possession, accounts suggest she also questioned what was happening to her, expressing moments of doubt and desperation. The film also minimizes the role of mental illness in Emily Rose's affliction, focusing primarily on the supernatural aspects of her possession. In contrast, Anneliese's case involved a complex interplay of factors, including her diagnosed epilepsy, potential mental health issues, and the influence of her religious upbringing. Section 9. A Legacy of Darkness. Anneliese Michel's story continues to fascinate and disturb, even decades after her death. It serves as a chilling reminder of the power of belief, the complexities of mental illness, and the fine line between faith and fanaticism. Her case remains a subject of intense debate, with some believing she was truly possessed, while others maintain her suffering was the result of untreated medical conditions. Regardless of one's personal beliefs, Anneliese's story is a tragedy. It's a story of a young woman who endured unimaginable suffering, caught between the realms of faith and reason, science and spirituality. Her case serves as a cautionary tale, reminding us of the importance of seeking help from both medical professionals and spiritual advisors when confronting the unknown. In the end, Anneliese's legacy is one of darkness and despair, a haunting reminder of the fragility of the human mind and the potential for suffering when belief systems clash with the complexities of the human condition. Her story continues to captivate and disturb, prompting us to confront our own beliefs about the nature of good and evil, the existence of the supernatural, and the limits of faith in the face of unimaginable suffering.